Good day everyone, this is Nigon here from Nigon's Electronic Creations, and I'm going to be going over the next feature of Igniter. This is actually going to be a feature of Spark Color, though you can do this on Igniter as well. It's just that because Igniter has up to 16 fonts, normally you don't need to replace, you just add fonts. But in Spark Color you have to always have 6, and so you start with 6, so if you want to change your fonts you're going to override your font. So this video is going to be how to actually override a font with new wave files. I'm not going to change any of the settings of the font. I'm going to assume like all the blade settings and stuff are fine. You're just replacing one set of waves with another. So here we go. So you can see I have the Spark Color config editor. It's completely loaded right now. I mean, I've just started the app, but I didn't open the font. And going to disk, this is going to be my Spark demo directory. We're going to be replacing this font 4. We're going to be using an oldie but a goodie, which is these sounds, which is Sunrider's Electrum font. This is a really great font if you don't have it. It's one of my favorite like older fonts that was created back in the actual original Igniter days. But it's a really great font, kind of like it's got kind of a feel of Mace style font, like a light side but a little more aggressive. So I like it a lot. Anyways, let's use that. We're going to replace our font 4 because say we want that font in there instead of whatever is in font 4, which is I think Meteor or something. Okay, so what do? Well, you have two options. I like to actually load the font right away that I'm going to change, so we'll do that. You could actually do all the mods on disk first and then just open this at the end. But let's do this. We're going to go ahead and open font 4 here. So that's under font 1, so let's go here to font 4. So we open this. And you can see this opened fine, and now these are our settings. Now we're not going to change the settings, but we need this open because this is going to fix once we move the waves. So now what we're going to do is go back to disk, and we can just select all these. So if you do Control plus A at the same time in Windows, that selects everything. And then I like to do right click, and we're going to basically go into our font 4 and right click and drag these over. Before we do that though, I find it's easier to just go ahead and delete basically all these existing folders like here. Just delete these, and then also while you're there, go ahead and delete this, because that's not going to be the same font anymore. Now you can right click all of these that are selected in the right window, drag it over here, let go, and then this way, see, it was going to move it by default, but we want to I want to just copy it. I don't want to lose this file, so I'm going to select copy. And then it's going to have, there's usually going to be 2 because the font.wave and the multi.wave. So just do replace files in the destination, override them, and now you have it. Now just keep in mind, if you this is in this folder is exactly the default file. So I'm assuming you have this backed up somewhere. If you had already made mods to this, you just make sure to back this up before you delete the original existing folder, like wave files and folders. But now we have, you can see we have like a ton of waves, and that's not how it's supposed to be. They're supposed to all go in those folders. But watch this. This is why you need to go to this program. So when you load this, you'll notice a few things happen, and you'll see over here it cleaned it up. So the first thing it did is it saw all those waves were just dumped in the root, and so it moved them into the appropriate locations. So that's great. That happens automatically. And then the second thing is you can see if you read it, it says like found 5 files, moving them. It'll also say right here, you should say, yeah, right here. So see, like incorrect number, like original was 0 and there was 19, so it's updating it to 19. So this is like, first it's like moving the files to the correct folders, creating the folders and moving them. Then it's updating your numbers, and this is critical. Like these two things need to happen. If you don't do this and then you just plug this in your Saber, it's gonna seem to work a little bit, and then all of a sudden it will just lock up and be crazy. So don't do it. Just always use this. And now the other thing is this, I'll fix it, but you do have to do save. So save. Now it's saved. A couple other things to note about this font. There's actually some track files here. So we would, if I want these tracks to be played, I'd actually have to copy them manually into this tracks folder and make sure the naming is appropriate. And the other thing was this is just per this font. He gave you like a choice of a ton of different font waves you can use. So whichever one you like, you just rename to font.wave and leave these ones unnamed. They're doing nothing right now. But that's it. So the last step as in the last video I showed where you copy, is just to make sure to reformat your SD card. That will erase everything on it. So again, make sure that's backed up if you haven't backed it up. So it's formatted, and now we can basically copy the entire contents of this. We can do Control A. It's hard to hit. And then we can basically, drag and copy. And so I'm not going to wait for this to copy, but now let's go to the Saber, and then we will see how this works. Okay, now that we have uploaded the SD card files, we've copied them over, put the SD card in the hilt, let's go ahead and see how it sounds. Okay, so I've turned on the Saber, and you can see this is the first font. It's father son. It works as expected. So let's go to our new font.
Essence.
So that's our new font. You can see the wave plays correctly, and we load it. We have the new sounds. So that is how you replace a sound font on all three of my boards: Spark, Spark Color 2, and Igniter 2.